When you stand at 6 feet 5 inches tall at just 17 and you've already captained Austria to a World Cup final, people notice. When Liverpool moved decisively to secure your signature ahead of Inter Milan and several top German clubs, people really start paying attention. Ifeanyi Ndukwe isn't just another promising youngster, he's the defender Liverpool believe can be the long-term successor to Virgil van Dijk himself. And after witnessing what he produced in Qatar at the Under-17 World Cup, it's not difficult to see why Arne Slot's side have acted so swiftly. Come July, when the youngster officially turns up for pre-season, Liverpool will have secured one of Europe's most coveted defensive talents. But what makes this teenager so special? Born to a Nigerian father and a German mother, football ran through his veins from an early age, and by 2016, at just 8 years old, he'd already caught the eye of Austria Wien's academy scouts at local club WAF Brigittenow. For the next decade, he'd wear the violet shirt with distinction, rising through every age group with a maturity that defied his years. In March of last year, he made his debut for the reserves in Austria's third tier, and what followed was nothing short of remarkable. 13 appearances later, Ndukwe had helped fire the Young Violets to promotion, showcasing the kind of composure and reading of the game that had coaches praising his approach to defending. But it was on the world stage where he truly announced himself. The Under-17 World Cup in Qatar became his coming-out party, and scouts were left in awe of what they witnessed. Across 8 matches, playing 7 due to suspension in the semi-final, the towering centre-back marshalled Austria's defence with authority that seemed impossible for someone so young. 5 clean sheets, just 2 goals conceded throughout the entire tournament. These aren't just impressive numbers, they're the kind of defensive records that define championship runs. Austria ultimately fell 1-0 to Portugal in the final, but Ndukwe had already done enough to establish himself as one of the tournament's standout performers. What caught Liverpool's attention wasn't just his defensive solidity though. In the last 16 against England, Ndukwe popped up with a goal in a commanding 4-0 victory, demonstrating that he's comfortable influencing proceedings at both ends of the pitch. That advancement, both physically and tactically, is precisely what makes him such an intriguing prospect for Liverpool's future. Let's talk about the physical specimen first, because it's impossible to ignore. At 198 centimeters, Ndukwe towers over most players on the pitch, and remember, he's still only 17. There's every chance he grows even taller before his body fully matures. To put this in perspective, he's already the same height as Virgil van Dijk and taller than Konate. In both penalty boxes, that kind of presence is utterly dominant. Aerial duels become formalities rather than contests, and opposing strikers simply can't compete physically when he decides to attack the ball. But here's where Ndukwe separates himself from other tall defenders. He's genuinely quick, not just mobile for his size, but properly rapid across the ground. This recovery pace acts as his safety net, allowing him to be aggressive in his defending without the fear of being exposed in behind. When his decision-making occasionally lets him down, stepping up to engage when he should hold his position or dropping off when he should press, that electric acceleration bails him out. His defensive intelligence, however, is what truly sets him apart. Ndukwe reads danger before it fully develops, positioning himself to cut off passing lanes and block shots with a timing that seems instinctive rather than taught. He's what coaches call a front-footed defender, someone who prefers to snuff out attacks at the source rather than sitting back and reacting. This proactive approach fits perfectly with how Slot wants Liverpool to defend, pressing high and forcing mistakes rather than allowing opponents to dictate terms. The comparisons to Van Dijk aren't just about height, they're about that same imperious quality, that ability to make defending look effortless through superior positioning rather than last-ditch heroics. Then there's his technical ability, which shouldn't be underestimated despite his imposing frame. Ndukwe is remarkably composed on the ball, capable of playing line-breaking passes from deep and launching attacks with pinpoint long balls from his right foot. In Slot's system at Liverpool, where centre-backs are expected to be the first phase of build-up and regularly find players between the lines, this quality becomes essential. Van Dijk and Konate have been Liverpool's 2 most prolific passers into the final third this season. Ndukwe possesses that same range and vision, able to shift play across the pitch or thread balls through congested areas to release attackers. Liverpool's tactical requirements under Slot make Ndukwe's profile even more appealing. The Dutchman has implemented a more structured defensive approach than his predecessor, with centre-backs given license to advance with the ball while the double pivot provides security behind them. Ndukwe's confidence in possession and his ability to carry the ball forward fits this blueprint perfectly. When you couple that with his defensive nous and physical advantages, you begin to understand why Liverpool's director of global talent, Matt Newbury, identified him as a priority target months ago. There's also something to be said for his mentality and character. Despite the attention from Inter Milan scouts who travelled to watch him in April and interest from multiple German clubs last summer, Ndukwe remained patient. He extended his contract with Austria until 2028 rather than rushing into a move, demonstrating maturity beyond his years. When the offers flooded in after his World Cup heroics, he could have been swayed by the glamour of Italian football or the Bundesliga. Instead, he chose Liverpool's project, believing in the pathway the club has laid out for him. That pathway is clearly defined. Ndukwe will join Rob Page's under-21 squad initially, but there's an explicit route to the first team. With Ibrahima Konaté's contract expiring this summer and no agreement yet reached on an extension, Liverpool are planning for life without the Frenchman. The arrival of a more experienced centre-back like Marc Guéhi seems likely, but Ndukwe represents a long-term investment. He's only 15 months younger than Giovanni Leone, who Liverpool clearly see as first-team ready. What Liverpool are getting is a defender who combines the physical tools that money simply cannot teach with the technical and tactical attributes that can be refined and developed. His height and pace are genetic gifts, his game intelligence suggests natural talent, but his composure and passing can be honed further under the guidance of Van Dijk and Liverpool's coaching staff. The raw materials are exceptional, and Slot's system provides the perfect environment for those materials to be shaped into something truly special. The timing of the deal also shows Liverpool's strategic thinking. Securing a talent of this magnitude before his stock rises further is exactly the kind of shrewd business that has defined their recruitment in recent years. There will be patience required, of course. 17-year-old defenders don't walk into Premier League starting lineups overnight, regardless of their potential. Ndukwe will need time to adapt to English football, to the pace and physicality of professional competition, and to the demands Slot places on his players. But the foundations are already in place. The signing also speaks volumes about Liverpool's defensive planning. Pairing Ndukwe with Leone in the future creates an intriguing partnership. Two young, physically gifted, ball-playing centre-backs who could form Liverpool's defensive core for the next decade. The fact that Liverpool moved so decisively, wrapping up the deal before other clubs could properly table their offers, tells you everything about how highly they rate him. This wasn't a gamble on an unknown quantity, this was targeted recruitment of a player they believe can become a genuine star. Ifeanyi Ndukwe might arrive at Anfield as a raw teenager, but everything about his profile suggests he's perfect for what Liverpool need. The physical dominance, the technical security, the defensive intelligence, and perhaps most importantly, the mentality to succeed at the highest level. He chose Liverpool when he could have gone elsewhere, and Liverpool chose him when they could have waited or pursued different targets. That mutual conviction speaks volumes. Do you think the transfer will ultimately be a success? Let us know in the comments. Remember to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel. Also be sure to turn on post notifications so that you never miss out on any new videos. See you next time. Bye.